Let's learn about the functions in this lecture. So JavaScript functions are used to perform some operations. So let me just take example straight away. So if I just say something like add function, okay. So what if you need to add some of the variable, and I'll just give, okay, I'll just make use of this Sublime Text here. So if I just say, if I just make you do this add operation every time, and I'll just pass something like, let me say, first of all you have to add 8 and 9, in the second you have to add 9 and 0, in the third operation you have to pass 8 and 0. So you can see we're just doing same operation, that is adding, and with a different argument over here. So if I just say add now, let me say for 56, so you are just adding, you are just calling the same method, or basically you are just adding, you are doing something like 8 plus 9. If I say add 8 and 9, in the second case you'll just do 9 and 0, in the another case you'll just do 8 and 56. So what you are doing over here is you are just taking the argument over here and doing the addition both on these arguments. So what if I just say something like, instead of just a value, what if I just say a and b? So if I just say a and b instead of 8 and 9, and same a and b instead of 9 and 0, and a can be any value and b can be any value, you are just doing here, that is a addition of b. So you are just doing the same operation, which is add. So in that case you can call JavaScript function many times to reuse the code. So simply you can make use of this add method or a add function in order to add or in order to reuse the code. So you can simply make use of this plus operator for any value given to this function. So let's take example here. So first of all, you have to create the functions using the function keyword. So if I just say function, so this is your way to create the function. So next one would be your function name. So it would be your name, and after that you have to give the parenthesis, the opening parenthesis and the closing parenthesis. After that you will just define the scope. So scope is basically the code which will be executed when you just run this function. So here will be code. So first one is your declaration of the function, which we just did here, which was using the function keyword, giving the name, which should be unique. If we just create another function, let me say function, and if name is already created, so next function should be something like name1, so which is basically should be the distinct or unique from another, and this is your name1 function. So now let's create some useful function. So what if I say add would be your function, and here I'll just pass a and b. So here inside this parenthesis we have passed some argument over here, which was a and b, which was the same case what we talk over here. So instead of passing 8 and 9, which we can do simply is pass a and b, and after that you will just define the scope, and here you will say that is console.log, and the operation would be addition. So you have simply made the function. So you have declared the function, but you can see here we haven't got any output from that function because we are not calling that function. So just remember, first part of the function is to just declare the function, which we just did here, and the next one is to call that function. So whenever we need, we call this function to do the task for us. So simply calling is using the name, which is the name of the function over here, and pass the argument. So in this case I'll just say 8 and 9. So when I just say 89, it will just give me 17, which is basically the addition of this 8 and 9. So second was 9 and 0, so you can simply do the same operation with the next value, which is 9, and again you can do multiple operations. Just remember that the add should be same as here, which is the name of the variable, and you will just pass any value over here, and you will just get the output straight away after you call that function. So JavaScript function can have 0 or more argument, so you can simply see here we just pass the 2 argument over here. You can also simply make the function without the argument. I'll just say info, and it doesn't contain any argument. It will just give me console.log, or it will just print me or give the alert of hello when you just call this method. So let's go here, and now next one is to call the method, and in here we just don't pass anything because while defining the function we just didn't give any positional argument over here. That means we'll just say info, and you could see the simple alert dialog over here saying hello, which was the message inside this hello. So this is the way in order to create the function without any arguments. So you can simply pass no argument over here or any number of argument as we did here, which was with this 2 argument. You can also pass any number of argument over here and do your work over here. So next thing, let's learn quickly about the return statement. So let me just create the function real quick, and it will just say get info, simple function without any positional argument, which is basically the argument inside this parenthesis. So we'll just say return keyword. So in before example, what we did was we just made use of this method, but this method was just printing something inside this scope. It was not returning, or it was not getting anything. You have to just print the addition or giving the message inside this. But now what we'll do is simply we'll just create the function, and this function will just say get info, and this time it will just return me something. So I'll just say hello future hackers. So this should be the message, and now let's close this function. After that I'll just call this function, and if you just see over here, we don't pass any argument over here because it is empty while declaring the function. If I just print this, then you could see the message straight away that is saying hello future hacker, which was the return from this function. So if you just say instead of return, so let me just make something like again the function, and this time it would be add, and if I just say okay A and B, and this method is going to say something that is return me addition of A and B. You can also multiply, so I'll just say addition of A and B. So this is your method. So now if I just call addition 7 and 8, you would see nothing would be printed, but this is the terminal like engine of the browser, so you can simply see it has returned 7 and 8. But if you just make use of the Sublime, then it won't print you anything, because you have to just make use of console.log statement in order to call this add, and addition should be done like this, and you could see 15 with the help of Sublime Text also. So return is basically giving you the value, and while calling this the output, basically if you just see something like C addition 4 and 5, and now the C value would be the 9, because when you return from any function, that would be the value returned while calling that function. So this value, which is basically add 4 and 5, will be 9, will be stored in this C, and C has been printed as 9. So this is the useful in order to make use of the return statement in the function, and we have learned about how to create the functions, how to define the function, how to call the function, passing the argument to the function, and using the return keyword, which is the basic of the function, which will be useful while creating the keyloggers in the upcoming lecture. See you in the next one.